What's up guys, my name is Hugo Ceneviva and welcome to Digital Artist React episode 1. This channel is all about sharing knowledge and showing cool stuff and inspiring new artists. Today we're gonna be breaking down 6 different images, 3 from mainstream and 3 from the Behance peaks. Let me explain a little bit for you guys how this is gonna work. For example, today we're gonna break down Fast 9, Loki and Jungle Book, and the 3 Behance peaks are always a surprise. So stick until the end of the show so you can see who are the artists that got selected and how we're gonna break down their work. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, I would like to explain how we're gonna analyze this stuff and how we're gonna break down these images. The first disclaimer is I'm not here to bash anybody. I'm not here to give bad feedback to anybody. My job as the host, it's gonna be to try to discover, try to unveil how these people created these images and which style, why do they choose each color, and try to discover how was the path from the idea to the final result. And before we start, I have been working post-production for almost 8 years, 7 of them here in the US, and I absolutely love what I do. During my career, during the beginning of my career, it was breaking down images, analyze work, it was a constant. So I truly believe this is a cool way to bring a cool content to you guys, analyze image that we love from mainstream and from Behance, and also share knowledge. I've been waiting to do this show for a long time. I got inspired by the crew from the Corridor crew. They have a big channel in the YouTube. If you guys didn't check that out, go check it out. They inspired me to create this stuff for digital artists, and I think you guys are gonna love it. So now that we explained the dynamic of the show, let's jump in and analyze Fast 9. Okay, we got the Fast 9 saga poster here open in front of me, and just to give a little context, I have been a big fan of these movies since the first one, since the first Fast and Furious with Paul Walker. I have a Dodge Challenger specifically because I love muscle cars. So this movie inspired me my whole life. So just to give a little context, okay? So let's check out this artwork, guys. The first impression that I have when I look at this, it's like it's missing some integration between the elements, which can be the cars, the smoke, and also how does these elements interact with each other. Oh, but why do you say this, Hugo? Because look, for example, imagine yourself in a smoke environment like this when you have those smokes that you pull it up, and you probably already saw that in a lot of Tim Tadder work back in the day. He's a great photographer from San Diego. No, if you guys know him, check his work. His work is amazing. Tim Tadder on Behance. So when you're talking about smoke and how smoke reacts with the human body or with any element that is in the same scene, we notice here that the smoke is feathering so easily. Like the smoke is not interacting with the actors. It's like really slightly here, just a little bit. The smoke, it's not interacting with the cars. And you see like all the particle work, it could be done with a better integration. Now it's a fun thing because just knowing this, I don't know who did this work, but I'm assuming that could be from a client, or a client asked, they're like, hey, we don't want the smoke to infect the people, blah, blah, blah. So since I don't know the context of the work and I was not involved on that, I cannot comment on that. I'm just gonna give you guys how I think this could be done in a different way. For example, it would be much more realistic if the smoke had a longer feathering. For example, the smoke would be mixing up with the different colors here. The smoke would be interacting with the actors. You'd see a little smoke here. You would have a better depth of field, because look at this truck here. When you look at the truck, it seems like it has no depth of field, because the smoke, it's pretty much just a layer behind. And whenever you have a smoke that, and especially like that big of a smoke, the whole environment would be affected by it. And you can see, which is a little odd for me, and it's because, for example, they decided to use the smoke background. But for example, when you look at the actors, they did a pretty clean job on their skin and making sure they look super good. But when you look at the composition, they don't have any sort of integration between them, between the environment, between the foreground. And that was the biggest thing for me when I saw this work, and I was like, damn, I think I need to bring this to the channel to comment with the guys, comment with you guys, and just give my opinion, you know, because when you look at the other, this series has a bunch of posters, right? So you see this poster from Vin Diesel, you see the same problem. You see the smoke on the background, you see the car, and you see the person in the front. The same thing here. For example, how cool would be if this smoke was interacting a little more with the motorcycle, a little more going in the front, a little more interacting with Michelle Rodriguez here. When you see John Cena, it's the same thing. The car, all the cars from this specifically poster that I'm showing right now, they kind of look like they were shot in studio because they have no reflections. Nothing's altering their state. You know that, for example, if you have that amount of smoke behind, I'm sure Ludacris would not be this yellow. He would have a little green on him. He would have, the car would be surrounded for more smoke. It's just odd because it looks too separated. It looks like three different things are very distinct. And what causes us to look and see, what's going on there? It's probably because the smoke, it's not fully realistic. Like it's more like a paint, like a, how can I put this? I think it's more like a color separation pretty much. But whenever you're dealing with smoke, you need to make sure that smoke looks realistic. And for example, I watched the movie. The movie looks amazing, even if it's crazy. Like spoilers here, they go to the space and go crazy on everything. But guys, I believe this could be done in a better, they could find a better solution for this poster. But we never know. So let's jump in and the next one. The next one that we're gonna have here, guys, it's a very cool one. And if you guys never watched this series before, I highly recommend you to check it out because it's just amazing. So the series that we're gonna bring in here is Loki. And you can see here, this is the main one. And one thing that caught my attention about this whole series is how well done Marvel did this. I believe they had a budget of $150 million for this. And look how the lighting and how everything's interact with the actors and how it's much different from the Fast 9. For example, let me just tie everything vertically here so we can see. All right, so you see here that everything kinda is on the same family. If you guys live in LA, you probably saw all these posters around the city, and look how cool this looks. Look how awesome. It looks as a family, it has a unity, it has a pattern, and even when you go to a different color, like on this guy here, which is the main, the final guy of the series. Sorry, again, spoilers. I'm gonna put that on the disclaimer on the channel, don't worry about it. So you can see that everything talks to each other, everything behaves in a similar way. And for example, let's just dive in one of those so we can check it out a little more deeply. you can see that the rim light, how do they did this work pretty much? They had this 3D element behind, which represents the timeline and represents pretty much the time and how these clones and these variants would behave. So you're gonna see that they have different stages of the clock depending on which character it is. And another cool thing is that they decided to use a rim light coming from here and going all the way here. And you notice that this is present in pretty much every poster. Every character has the same lighting. Even our little alligator here, you can see on the young Loki the same thing. You can see on the, I don't remember the name of this one, and you can see the old Loki, the same thing. So this is like the second thing that makes you, when you look at the posters together, makes you understand that they belong to the same family. Another cool thing that they did, it's kind of this yellow mood that they use. It's a little bit yellow, a little bit orange, which it matches pretty nice. And you notice that you have slightly different variations every time. Sometimes it's a little more yellow. This case is a little more yellow. This case has a little more orange. This case has a lot more orange, a lot more vibrancy. Probably because this guy is yellow, so if it was not strong enough, it was not gonna shine enough. So this is the analysis of Loki, and I really like the style of retouching on this. It's not super polished, but it's really nice. It looks natural. I think the only one that I thought was a little bit too clean up was the young Loki here. But besides that, I really like these posters, and when you see them like as a family, like I was telling you guys, it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. And the series, I think, is one of the better, well-produced Marvel series until, at least in my opinion, I thought it was amazing. Like the color work that they did, and how on one of the last episodes, how they were color shifting everything while the background was moving. So I was like, I need to do something with this to show my appreciation to all the hard work and all the artists that work on this. Like, for example, this one compared to the Fast 9, this one is produced in the right way. Like, you see that they thought about everything. They combine 3D with they combine CGI with photography, and you see that they care about how everything looks. Like, look how beautiful this looks when you start passing. I think this one was made like last minute or so, because this one looks a little more low res. I was able to get the other ones in a better resolution. But just look at everything and look how the yellow is present on small details. You have this yellow cast happening. You have the plane with the yellow and green a little bit. Always some small details. Either if it's his eyes or something on his outfit, some small detail on the cloth here. So it's just a beautiful work, guys. Just beautiful. And whoever did this, congratulations. And please, if you see this video, leave a comment for us on YouTube, so we can maybe you can give us more information about it, and that would be amazing. Okay, so for our third reaction, we're gonna check it out. A movie that I didn't see yet, but I absolutely love the posters. So let me open. This is the Jungle Book with The Rock. And I decided to open this image first so we can talk about, because I always like, especially when there's a movie poster and you have like different character posters and everything, I always like to have them together to analyze and try to pick nits and pieces of how did they get to the style and why. For example, you're gonna see this on Jungle Book. Let me just open the other one real quick here, because they are bigger sizes and we can see the details much better. Okay. We got that open. Let's see the first one. This is Dwayne Johnson poster, and you can see there's a lot going on here. First thing that we notice is that they have a little effect going on here on the edges, which is pretty graphic. I like that. It's pretty nice and kind of helps to build this frame around it and allows the artist to crop in a way that they think it's more fitting to the scene. And another thing that I noticed on these posters is that you always have a yellow bright light and a cool cyan, kind of a green tonality to the mood. And another thing that I noticed on this is, like, even if you have special effects, you have 3D going on, you have a little bit of a illustrated look. So I would think they're combining photography with illustration and CGI. So that combination is amazing because allows you to bring stuff, elements that are not real in real life to an image and make everything work, because you can see that they're matching the lighting on everything. You can see this how do you say, also this little tiger here, it's CG, but whenever you have this together with the rock, it doesn't seem to fall apart. Why? Because not everything is in super crispy focus. They have a lot of illustration, they have a lot of matte painting behind to kind of blend these elements. And you can see, even you knowing that this is not real, it makes sense, it works, it looks beautiful because of all these three elements combination: illustration, matte painting. Matte paint, I would say, like, illustration, photography, and CGI, and plus matte painting over, because you can see that, for example, let's look at a different one. This one from Emily Blunt. You can see that they kind of illustrated her a little bit just to take a little bit away of the photorealistic look. And you can see that the backgrounds, matte painting, you have some 3D elements here, all really well done, but you can see that it matches the lighting of the rock scene. For example, on this one from Edgar Ramirez, you have the same thing. You have the same elements, but this lighting this color mood is a little more different. I would say maybe because his armor is already the yellow element, but maybe it could be a little more saturated, or maybe not. I think it's fine. Let me just check again. Yeah, I think it's fine because it differs a little bit. I think it's more the green that they have in the yellow cast. Yeah, this one is a little desaturated. Maybe this guy is the villain of the movie. I don't know. Maybe sometimes the artists decide to do a little more obscure poster just to make sure that this guy stands out and he's not the family of the others. So maybe he's the villain. I don't know. I didn't see the movie. But I really like, and you see how they're using the matte painting to give a little more depth of field, because you have a bunch of trees in the foreground. You have this big tree here, a bunch of trees in the foreground interacting with him here. You have here, and then you have this big tree kind of behind him, and then you have this other big tree here, a little more far back, and then you have a little more far back and way far back. You realize that whenever it's going far back away from the camera, the image gets the tendency to be a little more washed up. That's because you have the atmospheric effects happening as far as when you start going away from the camera. That's gonna be present on paintings, that's gonna be present on photos, on pretty much everything. So whenever you create a scenario that you wanna show the depth of field, work with atmospheric effects, because that will help your layout to stand out and to look really good. This one from Jack Whitfall, It's very similar to the rock. You have this bright yellow here and the green background kind of going to the blue here. But on this case, again, photography with CGI and with some illustration over. I think for this one, the saturation of the lamp is a little bit too high, but since we're doing an illustrated look, I think that would be fine for that. I really like this series. And you see here with Jesse Plemons, this one is a little more different. You can still have a little bit of the green, but remember how we talk about the other one, there is a villain. Well, this guy has a machine gun and a boat, so I'm 100% sure he is one of the villains too. So it makes sense because you have the good guys being more saturated, more lively, more magical, and you have the villains being more like, oh, okay, we're there's no color here. We came here to mess everything up. The same thing Paul Giamatti, you can see is way less desaturated. You have the 3D elements here. He looks a little more realistic, I would say. I would think they would illustrate his face a little more. I really like the golden teeth here, gives a really badass look, and like this little mustache too. I gotta watch this movie, guys. This looks amazing. And you can see how everything, the style, it's between more like antique and like very vintage look, but with a little bit of an illustrated look and working with cool colors. And this is Proxima. She is probably the tiger on the movie. I don't know what is her role in the movie, but this is really cool. It looks very nice, and you can see that they did a matte painting work here to incorporate her and to make sure she is believable on the scene. I think, looking at here, guys, I feel like this could be a little more saturated. Let's look at everything tiled so we can compare. Oh no, let me open the other one. 1 second, let me open the other one. Okay, let's look at everything together as a family. So you can see here, so maybe she's on the, okay, looking at this way, I would say that these three guys here, The Rock, Emily Blunt, and Jack Whitfall, they're the good guys because you can see the yellow light and you can see they have a similarity. But here below, you notice that every color is a little bit desaturated. You don't have the same intensity, the same vibrancy that you have on top, even on the backgrounds, even on the greens, like everything. So my guess would be that here is the bad guys and here is the good guys. I was a little, when I saw this for the first time, I thought that Proxima was the same here. So I was a little confused if that was the case, or if the tiger becomes the Rock's friend at the end of the movie. I don't know. But I just thought this was super cool to bring to you guys. This is a Disney movie, so you know it's like really well done, really well produced. Everybody that works on this movie, it's amazing. I'm sure that the team that works on the production of this movie posters too. And salute to you guys. This is a really cool. So this is a really cool project, and let's check it out. The next one. All right, guys, now we're gonna go check it out, the Behance pics, okay? The first one that I decided to bring to you guys, it's called Trouble Agency, and the artist, his name is Douglas Moores. Douglas Moores. I'll leave the link on the description for you guys. I saw this work and I was like, whoa, my God, I need to bring this to the channel because I thought it was very interesting. First of all, we're gonna look at everything as a series. If I can just center the people, yeah, that's great. Okay. So you see these people there on this dark room, and you have the impression that something is going on. And from the name of the campaign being Trouble Agency, you kind of assume that. Douglas, if you're seeing the show, leave a comment for us and explain to us a little bit more of how this work was developed. Looking at this, it really caught my attention because it's a very expressive work, but at the same time, it's really subtle, but really well done. Let's jump in one here to start. Okay, so we have this guy, he's looking at something in a distance, but you have all this cyan greenish look to the scene, which makes the scene heavy, like you feel like something is going on here. You look at his face, you know he's worried or he's kind of like in trance or something, and you have this awesome light leak in red that shines over his head and travels through his face. And you see that you have a fading here, starting with a gradient coming in, and it's just beautiful. It's just striking. Like you notice that something's up. And you can notice that in all the other examples, because they have the kind of same treatment. But the cool thing is like the lighting is the red light is hitting their faces in different parts, which makes it really cool. And you can see like how unique the expression of each person is. So cool. But you look that the retouching that was done, it was not to make it pretty, it was to make it real. Because you can see, for example, the lady here, why would you clean up everything and make everything perfect? I believe this was not the intention of they want to pass. They wanted to pass something that makes you worry, you know, that like, oh, what's going on here? Like, are we in a weird lab or something it's going on, or like, it's just cool, you know? And you can see how impactful the images are, and even with a little bit of imperfections, it makes sense because it helps to sell the idea. All right, so now that we checked this work, congratulations, Douglas Moores. Your work is amazing, dude. Interact with us on the channel, okay? Now let's check the second peak of the Behance that I have here. And it's gonna be Nike PG-13. All right, guys, for our second Behance peak, I chose this work from Behance, and let's just check it out who did it. It was Griffin from New York and Giraldo from New York. This is the campaign for the Paul George third signature shoe with Nike, and they created this campaign that is called Cozy. So the reason that I selected this work to be analyzed is just how cool they made this fur and how cool they made this work and interact with the photos that they had. So you can see here, everything is about get cozy, and you have this 3D element that pops up from the shoe, and you have these animations too, that it does movement, touching each other to pass the feeling of coziness. You can see the whole family here on the poster, which makes a lot of sense, and I really like because it's clean at the same. It's a clean look for a design. The images are nice. The color mood that they chose, and this is exploring this purple and blue, which is awesome. And I think maybe that's because no, he's not in Thunder. He was in Thunder, so it's not the Thunder colors. I'm sorry for that assessment, guys. Okay, so let's look at the poster. One thing that I thought it could look a little better, and maybe it's not even the artist's fault. You notice here when you look at the image, maybe he was in a little bit of a motion. Maybe the aperture of the camera when the photo was took. This is probably from a game too, so I don't know how crisp the resolution it is, but you can see that has a little movement, a little bit of motion there. So when I look at this and I see you see how higher the resolution on the 3D is close to the picture. So maybe for this execution, it would be nice to just lower down the resolution just a little bit on the rendering, just to make it match a little bit more, and maybe use some of this orange on the colors or somewhere on the word cozy. I don't know. Maybe they went for that. I'm not sure because I don't know the full length of the project. I'm just analyzing on what I see. But I really like this visual here, especially when you don't have the other colors interact. For example, if they could have a shirt that was purple and blue here, and it didn't have that much of warm colors, that would be nicer, because this ball could be a little more neutralized, and you could see here that this could receive a little more work here. I'm not sure if the guys who did the 3D work on the photos too, so if I'm saying anything that is wrong, I'm sorry for that. I'm just here to react and see and analyze this work because I thought it was super cool, and especially when you look at everything as a family, it just looks beautiful. It's just clean. And we just had, we cut a little bit here too, a little edge. Opa. Okay, let me see this again. So if I go here, the edge is here. Sometimes this happens because it has a rim light there, but usually you want to clean that up just to make sure that you don't have this line that almost looks like a stroke line. But besides that, I like the integration here. It would be nice, a little shadow here. Yeah, but I really like the 3D on this, and it's just beautiful. Okay, let's see the last one. I saved the best for last. Well, if you don't know this studio, you should go now, recalmfarmhouse.com, and check their work, because their work has been inspiring me for over, I don't know, as long as I can remember. And I have a friend that works there, and their work is just next level, guys. So today I brought this work here just to talk a little about what makes me like this so much. For example, Recom, it's known by taste, by good taste, by soft colors, and everything. It's just perfect. So you notice that they work with a big range of a gradiency of the values. Like you have the purple here, but you have a bunch of different tones of purple. You have a bunch of different tones of cyan on this beautiful landscape. And everything just blends together because everything was thought out, or everything was created with a single thing on mind, that is like, let's make sure that whatever we need to do in CG, whatever to do in photography, is just works together. I don't know, I didn't see the making off of this work. I would assume the car is 3D, and maybe the background, or maybe some of the water. I don't know. I think the lady is a shot, and probably this thing is a plate. I don't know. I would love to see some sort of behind the scenes just to understand a little better, but just to inspire you. Look how beautiful this image is, and look how everything makes sense. She's in the foreground. She's kind of using a forced perspective to touch the car, like she was doing like this. But I am the car, and this is her hand, so that's why it looks bigger. But at the same way, you have a line here and a line here made by this lighting that is coming along this way, and everything is hitting her face is looking at the car. You have soft colors, you have this mirror image because everything is water source is reflecting the sky, and makes a beautiful composition, a beautiful composition. It's almost like a work of art. This one, it's so cool because you have this water here and you don't know if you're upside down or it's like maybe this dude is the one on there. It's just a crazy mix that makes you feel like you're in a different world. Look how cool this is. Again, we have this beautiful horizon line. They turn on the image a little bit so it looks a little more dynamic, and it just brings you to this beautiful environment that it just seduces you and just makes you look at the car. And look how big of a range of the gradients and the big of a range of colors they work with. And you notice that it's nothing's forced. Everything is subtle. It's subtle moves, subtle speculars here. Nothing, because Recom has a very photographic style. Even when they use CG, they try to look as a photo, and this is one of the reasons that I love their work, because it just makes a total difference for me. So this is the third one, guys. I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys follow this studio, Recom, and they are amazing, and they have been doing this for I think over 30 years, so they're pretty legit. All right, so this is the last. All right, so this is the last image for today. I hope you guys like the Photoshop, the Digital Artist React, and next week I'm gonna be dropping another episode, guys. And if you have any suggestions of cool movies or cool artwork that you saw in Behance, anything you guys think is cool, please leave a comment for me. I'll be checking them. And next week we're gonna come up with more images for you and more analysis, okay? Have a good weekend. See you next week. Boom!